We have. Who knows what this is?
This is floppy drive.
Floppy drive. No, nothing rocket science is about that. Right? Right. We have a fan. All right. Pause your taping for just a second.
This is just regular.
Custom built machine. It's one I bought the parts for. What I did was I bought a bare bones kit, which basically included a main board. This is a 500 watt power supply. This case came with this fan. It's a toolless case, so you can, take the stuff out, put it in without a screwdriver. Although I have a screwdriver just in case I needed it. And basically, we're assembling a computer from scratch. Now, you can go on this. This is the place that this came from. All this stuff came from here, Tiger Direct. Actually, there's an outfit that's part of the same deal called Global Computer. I didn't bring it with me, but I've also got Office 2000. I've got Windows Vista Ultimate, and I've got Office 2007 for teachers and students, which I bought that. All right. So what do you think? The first thing we had to do, I had to pop the little cover out of the case, and the one that came with the motherboard had a different configuration. See, if I was stuck with this one, then this would not operate properly. See, it wouldn't line up. So the one that I snapped in here, and it just basically snaps in with your fingers to put in there. Look up, zoom in on this stuff here. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Come walk up closer. See these little posts? These little posts that are sticking up in here are where the motherboard's going to mount. And there's holes on the motherboard where screws are supposed to go through. All right. Now, one of the things that I may wind up getting in a mess with here is the fact that I don't know. There's usually a bag of screws that comes with the motherboard. And if it didn't, we may have trouble. Now, get a shot of what it looks like back here. Way back here. See right down there? See, that's where I had to break that one out because that's where my Ethernet port is. This has got onboard video. And I'm going to pull that. I'm going to pull that up because that's the way that's supposed to be. And that thing's got to slide in. All right. That's got to slide in there just like that. Don't you see? And we got to line that up. Now, let me see if I have a little box here. Usually, there's some screws. See the screws? There's your screws right there. I knew there'd be some screws somewhere. When you buy this much stuff, they're going to give you some screws. But they're already in here. But the little posts, that you see right there, a lot of the cases you buy won't have those, and this one here's got them. In the bag, just in case you need some that are there. And that's pretty much standard stuff. All right, I'm going to dump those out on the table, just like that. All right, now, basically these little washers here are supposed to go under the screws, but I don't usually use them, and it's not that big of a deal if you don't. All right, we take our screws here. All right, get over here where you can see what I'm doing with this screw. I'm going to line that up with that hole and run that screw down in there. This is what's going to hold our motherboard in place right here. Okay. Now you got to make sure you're using the right screws with the right threads. See, we got a variety here of different screws. Some of these screws are for putting the motherboard in. Some of them are for putting, if you've got to have screws for your drives and whatnot, then some of these will fit that. But they pretty well outfit you pretty good. I was kind of halfway afraid when I opened the box I was going to find something missing, because I didn't even open the box until I got in this classroom. And that's pretty scary, isn't it? Here's another little thing. It's an old mechanics adage. Don't tighten any screw fully until you've got all of them started. Because if you do, you'll have bound everything up, and you might not be able to get a screw in there. Okay. There's another one. Notice the different threads. Zoom in on those screws. See, some of them are really fine threaded screws like that, and some of them are coarser threaded screws. We want the ones that are coarser threaded for the purposes of mounting the motherboard. You just got to make sure if it doesn't go in there the way that it looks like it ought to, or if it doesn't feel like it's going in there smoothly. See how I'm putting these screws? Everywhere there's a little post, I'm putting a screw in there. This is going to get our motherboard mounted. See, that screw right there looks just fine, but it's got different threads. Everybody understand that?
Yeah.
All right. Now, basically, what I'm looking at, you need to be looking at, okay? All right, now there's a... All right, so we're going to do this. This is not going to take so terribly long. All right, we got... Anybody see a hole that I didn't put a screw in? There's one right there. Let's find one. Find a screw that's the right length. They love to roll around and fall off the table. There's one right there. There's one right there.
You screw in every hole?
Yeah, I would put a screw in every hole. If you've got a screw for every hole, put one in every hole. Some computer mechanics don't do that. The really good ones do it. And this is really not that hard to learn. I did this for the first time, scared to death, because everything looks so technical and complicated and all that. Now that one doesn't have a little place under it. I could have put one, but I've got them evenly spaced, and so I really didn't need to go any farther than that. Okay, this is the power supply right here. See how long, that's scary as all get out, but you're not going to need every one of those, right? There's a lot of wire there. All right, now if you wanted to, this one here is a 20 pin. Now some of the computers will have one that's got, less pins. This one here gives you the ability of plugging in every one of them, right? All right, and that one goes right there. That's what's going to power up the motherboard. The motherboard gets its power from right there. Most people don't do that. Now these ports right here, these right here, everybody knows what these are, right?
Is it expansion ports or
well, PCI these are PCI slots. That's right. That's where your cards are going to go. You notice we do have screws right here where we're going to be mounting our cards and stuff. All right. These right here are what? You've seen these ports before?
Are those USB ports?
No, those are SATA ports for the hard drive. The hard drive plugs in with a cable like that on this one. All right.
SATA, like spell that.
Yeah, SATA.
Okay.
It's a serial something or other. I don't know how. It's not really good for somebody that's trying to teach a computer class not to know what all these acronyms mean. But sometimes I forget the ones in automotive, This is a Western Digital 10,000 RPM hard drive, and we're going to be working with that in just a minute. But right now, who knows what that is?
Let's see, that's RAM.
That's RAM, isn't it? Okay. The RAM. The RAM is something that I'm going to have to get into. Kingston RAM. That is a gigabyte of Kingston RAM. Now you might notice, if you've been in any of these Dell computers, that this RAM right here looks a lot more sexy and high powered than what you see in the Dell computers, right? This is super duper high quality RAM. Here's another word to the wise. Something I had to learn the hard way. These are your RAM slots right here. And whenever you're putting your RAM in there, if you see 4 slots and they're 2 different colors, make sure that your number 1 slot, and both of the slots that are colored the same need to have RAM in them. Don't put RAM here and here or it won't boot up. You understand what I'm saying? All right, now you notice this has a shape code to it, right? See that little thing right there? And some of you may have done this before, and if you have, it's just plum duck soup. There's not a lot to it. Well, you put that down in there like that, and make sure that you're lined up the way you're supposed to be, just like that. And then you push it. When you push it, these snap in. All right, now the next place I'm going to put it, I want to make sure you're lined up. Now, if you put it in that way, it obviously is not going to plug in, right? And you put it down in there, just like that, and push it. See, now we've got the RAM in the slots it's supposed to be in. One time, not the last computer, but the computer before the last one I built had 2 blue slots and 2 white slots, or 2 blue and 2 black, or something like that. And I just put them here and here, and it wouldn't boot up, and it wouldn't boot up. And I called a couple of people, and they told me it didn't matter, don't worry about that. But it did matter. It mattered greatly. And when I moved that one to that, I didn't burn anything up, but when I moved that one to there, it booted up. All right, so that was the deal on that. Okay, now then, this particular fan right here is going to give me extra cooling. See, that is a massive fan, bigger than you usually see, and that came with this. Now, right here, see, you got a fan hooked up there, right? Okay, and the motherboard, incidentally, the main board, there is a book that comes with it. Now, in this book, there is a page that gives you the layout of the motherboard and what all the slots are and what you're supposed to do. That's one of the things that takes the stress factor out of this, because when you start looking through this book, it'll tell you just exactly where everything is supposed to go, what it is, how to hook it up, and all that. See, it's not really that hard to do. I'm going too fast for you. Don't be scared about that. That's all in the book. Okay. You know what these are?
They say you drives up.
Huh?
That
Yeah,
actually
that's your
shows
cables.
drive.
That's your the ribbon cables for your other IDE cables. All right. You know what this is?
Video card.
Yeah, with a woman's picture on it, on the front and the back. I don't know why they do that, but they do.
That's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah. This is a good one. It's a PCI Express. This particular, you can actually buy a computer cheaper than building one if you're wanting something. Like, see, I built one that was really strong. Not as strong as I wanted to because I didn't want to. I was not able to get a CPU that was the right one. All right, get that out of there. Right now, this is the processor. That's the CPU. This is an AMD Athlon 4000 Plus processor. Okay. This is zero insertion force technology is what this is. You see this little thing right here? See, you push it and it sort of hooks under there. See how that moves like that? Now, what you're going to do, if you look, you see the little arrow?
Mm-hmm.
You see on that, the little arrow? Can you pick that up in your video? All right. If you drop that in there, you don't have to push it. You basically line it up and it falls in place. Now this is a socket 939 motherboard and processor. The processor and the motherboard have got to obviously match for that reason. One computer I built, I bought a socket 939 motherboard and they fooled around and sent me a socket 754 processor, which had a different number of pins, didn't work. All right, now what you got to do here is pull the trigger. Hear it squeak? Right. All right. Now, the only thing that I'm a little confused about, and they don't usually look like this, is this fan right here. Because that fan, see how it's machined on the bottom? There's some heat sink material that's going to go on that, and this is going to be hooked up to there. Well, this one is obviously going to hook up with these screws right here. It looks to me like. And so that's fine, I can do that, but let me open this box and see if there's any heat sink compound, because that's some grease that's supposed to carry the heat out of the processor. And, let's see if I can get in this. Have you noticed how they make stuff now so that it's so hard to get into?
Mm-hmm.
You can get into it, but it gets hard and you'll stab yourself if you're not really careful. And I got to get into that. I probably ought to cut it like that, except away from myself. Alright, I can make that happen. You make it a very memorable video here.
I know, that's what I'm trying to go for. Use the force.
I never use them.
Well, I tell you what, I don't know what I'd do with that one. You know, with a particular... Oh, there you go.
There it is.
I'm glad that wasn't the processor.
Yeah.
Alright, see, they've got what they've got set up here. This thing, and like I say, there's supposed to be some grease. And I was thinking that, oh, there it is, right there. See the grease? Mm-hmm. We're going to figure out how to put that fan on there. We're already a pretty good ways along here. See, they got some little hardware. I got to figure out how to mount that stuff. And you're going to put this stuff on your processor.
What?
Yep. The reason you're doing that is because the grease helps carry the heat. Right? Anytime you're doing anything with electronics, there's heat sink compound to be dealt with. All right. Now this little fan right here is really unusual. Most of them are mounted a different way from this, and this one is the one that came with the case. All right. So if I got, see, I'm gonna put that on there like that, and make sure when I put it on there, I may have to use some adapters that they send with it. See that? Mm-hmm. All right, that's all right. Now then, right here somewhere. See, they may want me to put that on there that way.
That's
see what I'm saying?
Should do.
That's
that
okay.
Doesn't
My heat
stick
sink
forever
is still,
and ever, does it?
not really. So If I take that, and I know what I got to do. There's longer screws. There's longer screws. All right, I'm gonna get that screwdriver. Take those 2 screws out.
I see.
Take those out. Go ahead and take those out. Here, grab that screwdriver and take them out. While the video man is getting you there. We got to kind of figure this out as we go. See, this is the first time I've mounted one of these fans. Usually the fan is a big square thing and it's got some clips and you push it down and it's really scary because you're afraid you're going to bust something, you know.
I ain't seen one like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, not fast. You want to do yours?
See, there's different ones. There's different ones there. I can get it to come out of there. I was going to say Miss McClaney is sick, and so she called me and said...
Is she? That's funny. She must have given it to me.
Yeah.
Is this what you're going to use?
I'm going to use these different deals here. I'm going to pull that out of there and see if I need to use that one. What I have to do is to make it where my spacing is right, if you understand what I'm saying. All right, now that right there is the one I'm going to have to use, I believe. And the reason I'm saying that, see that?
Yeah.
See that? See how those screw holes
Yeah.
line up? And that right there is going down in there?
Right.
Okay, so I'll lay that one like that. Uh-oh. And I put it just like that right there.
Good. Do that. There it goes. That's it.
Although,
This is one that's always like you.
what I'm going to have to do is figure out how that's going to mount. See, this right here is the one I'm going to have to use, not that one. Because it's got holes that line up with what I've already got.
Oh,
See there?
okay.
And that's not too complicated, really. All right. So now we're going to put that one back down. This is a modification. I tell you what's really, really fun is having to figure stuff out like this while people are watching that you're supposed to be showing something.
I really don't think you have a lot to worry about.
Pretty
with this
spooky.
group.
Pretty spooky. It's still embarrassing
offense to y'all, but-
if you figure it out like that. Okay, now I'm going to put that just like that. Now that's okay if it's not. See, as long as I can line those up and put the screws in there so that this will be pulled down snug to that thing, I'm okay. Because I want it to be tight against the
Screws
process.
don't look long enough.
Well, actually, these are going to go.
Just into that casing.
That's right there. That's where they're going. Right there, like that. And I'm going to get another one just like that. And I'm going to drop it. Okay. It's kind of hard to bend over and pick that stuff up when you're old and fat. Okay.
No, it's not.
Nah.
Nah.
I don't want to do it. All right. Very good. Okay. There you go. See, we got our fan mounted. It's good.
Interesting.
Good and tight.
Material there.
Yeah, it is. Some sort of space age plastic. You know.
I know that's what you
That's
thought you
pulling the heat off.
That's pulling the heat off the processor. The processor is a very hard working piece of stuff in it. It gives off a lot of heat. And whenever we moved into the realm of making really fast processors, it's because they figured out a way to make processors out of copper instead of aluminum, and they made them a lot faster. Okay. Now then, what I need to do now is take my. He's got my mother. I mean, this is my video card, right? Okay. In order to mount the video card, this is a PCI Express video card. Here's the port that it goes in. That port right there. So it's going to have to take the screw and buzz that out. Now your computer people that are real sticklers for accuracy and all that will they'll have a strap on their arm that's grounded to the case.
I've seen that.
And the reason they do that is because, you know your little static electricity pop where you reach and grab your door handle? Ow! That can be from 8 to 25,000 volts.
Ooh.
Did you know that? Did you know that? There's not a lot of amperage, but it knocks the tar out of you. And if it knocks the tar out of something that's this intricate, it's going to ruin something if it's one of them little tiny deals. And figuring out which one of them is ruined is one thing. But finding a replacement is something else entirely. All right. See how that fit in that slot? Did you get a good shot of that? That's got to go down that shot, and this thing
Yeah, I
right
got
here.
a shot at it.
See when I snap that in? That's really, and on the back you can see that's where the video hookups are going to be. All right. Now the screw that I just took out remains missing, but I'm going to take another one which they sent with the motherboard. You notice my screwdriver is slightly magnetized,
Yeah, I did that.
and I did that.
How'd you bought it that way?
No, I magnetized it. And the way that you do that is you take a piece of insulated wire like that and wrap it around and around and around the screwdriver real tight, and leave a couple ends sticking out, and just touch it to both sides of a battery a few times and let it spark, and then it'll be magnetized. It may stay magnetized for a long time, or it may not be magnetized tomorrow morning, so that's an iffy thing. Usually it stays for a while, though. All right, now we've got our video card in place, and now we want to do something with our hard drive. Everybody's seen a hard drive before. As a matter of fact, I sent a hard drive over here that I had taken the cover off of so that you could show it to you. I had shiny discs and all in there. See, there's your serial ATA hard drive. See the hookups on there? All right. So what we're going to do there, it's going to mount in one of these bays down here. And these little places where the screws go, they're not going to have any screws in them because they really don't need any. Right? Now, on the hard drive, you're going to notice that there are some jumpers. There's some places for jumpers. You see that?
Yeah.
See those little jumpers? Now, those jumpers, if you look at, you look really close, I don't know if you can see that with a video camera, but you've got all of these little different settings for it. And usually on the hard drive, you're going to see slave, master, cable select, right? Okay, and this one right here, it says SSC select, PM2, Opt1, and Opt2, which is like option 1 and option 2. I'm not really exactly sure what all that means. But if I put it together and I run into trouble, all I got to do
you'll learn
is
what it means.
get a hold of the Western Digital people. Now, I won't burn anything up. Like I say, these things are friendlier than you think they are. They're not nearly as, you might be afraid, oh, I'm going to destroy something and waste all my money. But as long as you don't do anything dreadfully stupid, you can usually figure you're going to be okay. All right, you see that right there? See how those holes are lined up with those? Now, you could put screws there if you wanted to, but this is designed so that you don't have to do that. If you put that in there and turn it, hold it, let me make sure it's in place. I can get it down in there. There it is. There you go. See, that's locked in. That's the way that mounts. All right. Now, what I want to do here, you might notice this thing has got a door. That, yeah, that is magnetic on there. All right. So if I take one of the top bait is the only one that's not obstructed by a steel plug, and I really don't appreciate that. I stand this up like this. See, because that was the one I want to use, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to try to do here is get that thing out of there, but I'm going to have to break the metal housing out from behind it. I might have to do that first. Let me lay it back down. See, they got the top one totally unobstructed, but the second one is not. And all you got to do is break that. You can break it out of there with your hand. And it's a little steel plate. You just bend it back and forth, and in a minute it lets go. Just like that. All right, now what I'm wanting to do is take that one out. And I like to keep a pocket flashlight just for that reason, so I can see how those knot heads did that. Okay. There's two little tabs. See that? Okay. Now then, somewhere here I have, in addition to all these empty boxes, you see I've got these cables that go with the video card. And I've got a book that goes with the video card and drivers. It's a driver disc, right? Driver disc and cables. Now this is your little rider. if you go to Tiger Direct on their website and you start looking at motherboards and processors and hardware, like a bare bones kit comes with the processor and the fan and case and a power supply generally. If you can go to Tiger Direct, see this one here, you don't like the color, you got a different face with it. So that's pretty handy. This is a DVD burner and all that. This little adapter here is actually what goes on the back of that fancy card and adapts it to your regular monitor, you know. It's for some super duper stuff. See, I could have actually used that if I needed to.
Or what?
For that processor. I could have put it on the processor and made it, but it'll cool better, I feel like, without it. We'll find out if I know what I'm talking about. That's a 4,000 plus processor. And I'm not sure, but I think this thing may go in from the front or the back. And I'm going to go down in here, or will it? Maybe I'll have to go in from the front. Maybe I'll have to remove the power supply. You think? Open it up. See if it'll slide in there.
Yeah.
It will. Let me snap that now. Come on. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. All right. All right. Now, nice and flush. Look good? All right. This is what's going to hold it on the other side. See? Oops, if I can get that to go in there. There. See, that's sort of spring-loaded. Now, there you go. That's toolless, isn't it? You don't have to worry about any tools. Now, this one here, you see the little jumper on the back?
Yeah.
Bring your video around here. The little jumper is right there on the back. That's the little jumper that I was talking about, that you're going to move it from cable select to master to slave, this kind of thing, see? All right, now on your ones that have an IDE hard drive that's got a hookup like this on it, you're going to take, your IDE ports are right here. See these IDEs? You got IDE 1 and IDE 2. This is for your floppy drive right here. It's slightly different size port than the others. All right, so where's my floppy drive? There it is. There's the floppy drive. You notice where the floppy drive goes.
What are these?
That'd be right there, wouldn't it?
Top ones.
The top one's the one we're going to use. You're going to pop that little cover out. It's got some little... can you get that out?
Yeah, it's a screwdriver or something flat. Yeah.
I'm going to pull that little... Is it giving you a hard time? There you go. We need to help on one side. All right. Let's see if that one will slide in from the front. So make sure it's our side up. Yeah. Now, if you plug your floppy drive in upside down, then the light won't work on it. And you got to plug it in the right way. Let's see. Where is it?
No, it's not.
Where's it hung on?
Right there.
Is it hung physically on the outside of the case?
No.
Looks like it. All right.
At the top.
Let me
I think
see.
it's at the top.
Maybe right there. Oh, yeah. Try that again. Maybe I need to bend that tab in or something. Slide that in there one more time. Okay, we got a little issue here. Okay. Now that thing there. No, let's see. FDD it says. All right, we got something going on there.
You sure it's right side up?
Well, yeah, the bottom of the computer's down here. All right, I want to take my RAM back out. Because it's in the way for me putting it in this way. All right. There's the RAM again. That RAM alone, that particular RAM that I bought, cost about $200. Was $179, but now all RAM is not that expensive. You can get RAM that's cheaper than that.
You just said this was a really good.
It is a super duper quality RAM. And
Why don't you just get a single stick gigabyte instead?
huh?
Why don't you just get one stick if it's a gigabyte instead?
Well, I was just wanting a gig of RAM, and the sales lady, well, not really. It would have cost as much either way. But the sales lady gave me
A twofer?
a twofer, yeah, and then did it that way.
Cool.
All right, see, that's lined up. See
So
that?
you just had to come from the other side.
Yeah, apparently it was really stiff going in. Then we're going to put our little dog in there. All right. What's funny? What are you laughing about?
Yeah.
I thought something was funny. I didn't see. Is it okay over there?
Yeah, it is good.
He was laughing because I put it upside down. All right. Let's go. We're going to put this back in here again, just like that, and snap it when you push it down. You need to make sure these are always in. You want to try that? There you go. That's not a bad idea. Just line it up. Look at your slot. Yeah. You got to get around there where you don't have to start reaching from the side. See how?
I see that.
See where it goes? Takes you a little bit to get a handle for it. This thing has actually got to help the fan. It's got this little duct that is adjustable so that you got air coming in from out there. Pretty good. See, the good thing about this is I can bring this in a bunch of boxes and take it home just in one big deal.
Okay.
All right, that snapped down and went together. We're in good shape with that. All right. Okay. Now that's got that handled. Now we got to hook all this stuff up. Our hard drives here. Okay. Now then.
Lord, how do you remember which one that came with?
This is actually the only one that looks like this.
Okay.
And it's, you notice it's got, see the shape code on that connector? All right, and right down in there, you got all these SATA ports.
What you call that?
These are SATA. See how they say
SATA?
SATA? All right.
Okay.
That down there, SATA. All right, one of the things that we're going to do here, we're going to plug that into SATA 1. It snapped right in there. And that's going to go, and it's, like I say, since it's shape coded, you can't ever plug it in backwards.
Okay, good.
It goes right there on the hard drive. See how it goes on the hard drive right there? All right. Something else the hard drive needs is one of these. It doesn't matter which one of those, because all of these are power supplies for your different things, except this is the power supply for your hard drive. See that one there? It's a separate one. And so you got to make sure that you got your shape code right.
I want to see why you think that. Right. Okay, I see.
See, it looks, it's a different shape. And you can plug that in like that. Now, I believe if that's plugged in, you don't need to plug one of these in. You can do it either way. You can plug that in or you can plug this in, but you don't necessarily.
Still got power to it.
You don't need to plug them both in. All right, now, in your book, you're going to see where all of this stuff goes. Right? All right, you see that little square plug right down there? That little square plug right down there is the one this one goes to, right? And it just so happens that it's black on this particular one. All right, so you plug that in right there. It'll only plug in one way, and it's got a little dog that holds it. See how it snapped into there? That's plugged into there. That's part of the power supply deal. This connector here is coming off of the fan. You notice how right there it says JCF?
Yep.
Or actually it says JC Fan 1. All right, you can put that, plug that in just like that right there. That's where that goes. This other fan is going to, we're going to tie wrap it.
Okay.
We're going to use some tie wraps on it before we get done. All right, now this right here is your other fan. And it sort of has it stretch through this thing right here. Now, on my other computer at home, the one I play Battlefield 2142 on, I've got two PCI slots that are like this. And there's a little jumper plug that goes from one of these I got two video cards in there for processing video. Okay, now then, before I do that, see these little things right here? Yeah. Okay. Can you see that? Some of these youngsters are going to have to see that. I can see it, and I can read it. I don't have my glasses on. I can put them on. Look at all these. Those are the little buttons that come on the front of your case, right? See that? All right. Can you see this one here? You got a power LED minus. Now, if you plug an LED in backwards, a lot of times they won't burn, but most of the time on the computers, they'll have one that it will burn green one way and orange the other way. All right. Right here, you've got, what is it? What you got on the front? You got sound and power and all that. All right, that's the sound. Let's see. Yeah, that's sound is what that is. Nope, excuse me. That's another fan. I've got another fan in the front. That's what it amounts to. This thing's loaded with fans. But What I was getting at right here before I get sidetracked, this is a speaker, which I don't really care if it's hooked up or not, because I don't really like listening to my modem go. These are the ones for your USB ports. See that? Your USB hooks up to the motherboard with those. All right. You got to look in the book to figure out how to hook those up. You see these here? Power switch. All right. Look at that and tell me where the power switch goes. Now look at the color code. Look at the words. Does one of them give you anything about power? Which one?
Well, it says power LED.
Okay, I want the one for the power switch that turns it on.
It says on and off. It's the last one. It's the red one.
Okay, so it's the one. Now, the way they got that laid out, if you can see that, is they've got the top row of those words goes with the top row of pins. The bottom row of words goes with the bottom row of pins, right?
It's on this side. And it's
So I'm going to be the top one, and that's where this one's got to go, isn't it? So that one is going to go right there. Let's shove that one in there. Okay. Now, look here. Now show me the reset switch. Can you find the reset switch? You see one that seems to indicate reset?
It's the bottom one, the red one. The one that you just plugged in is the bottom one.
Okay. Yeah, I see RST. Is that what it says? Okay. See, I'm nearly 50 years old, and I can still read that from here.
That's good.
I'm not even looking. I know what my chances are.
Well, you know what I do whenever I run into a problem with that? I take my digital camera out and I take a digital macro shot and blow it up. Well, I can see it. You couldn't used to do stuff like that. All right. Now I've got hello, Mr. Cobb. I got power LED minus and power LED plus. Where's your power?
It's the top one. Not the next to the other top one. That's right here.
The one on the very corner? Okay. Here, point it out with that laser.
Hold on. It's right here. It's that one right there at the top.
Okay. That's a yellow one. All of those yellow ones are alike. You sure that's not for the speaker or something?
It says power LED.
You know, you're right. It says power LED, and that's going to be all 4 of those? Let's see. There's 3 pins there. It's pretty interesting. Okay, there's a hard drive LED. All right, let's back up for a second. Let's go with our hard drive LED. See that one? Hard drive LED? All right, and that's the one right below what you're talking about, isn't it? So if you were going to plug that one in, would you plug it in right here? Okay. I can do that. All right. All right, so since you've told me that we got hard drive LEDs, they don't tell you about minus or plus. Now, in the book, you would probably find something. If we plug it in backwards, it won't work. Isn't that right, Mr. Cobb?
It might.
It might. The one on my computer at home works, but not right because I got it plugged in backwards. But, all right, that's giving me my buttons and all that, right? Where's my buttons and everything? They're right here, right?
Yeah.
Those are for buttons. Those are for my little lights and that kind of thing. That's what those are for. That's how they hook up, right? Now, your speaker, once again, I couldn't care less about the speaker. There's some little jumpers. See the little jumpers right there? Your book is going to tell you what to do with those. And now, once again, you remember, if you've got different colored RAM slots, you need to make sure you put the RAM in the same color slots, right? All right. Now, your USB, where you plug your USB in, is something I'm going to have to track down. There it is right there. See that? There's your USB hookups. Right there, where those USB ports are. All right, now they've tried to make it where it's hard to plug it in wrong. If you understand what I'm saying. See that? Because they got a missing pin.
Yeah.
And they got a missing pin there, so you're not going to be able to plug it in but one way. I have seen some where you could plug it in wrong. And if you plug it in wrong, what will happen is, and I've actually plugged it in wrong and wound up with it rebooting my computer. You know what I mean? All right, now that one right there is not gonna. That's a JCC.
This is
AC97. That's my card. That's my sound. Just from what I know about that, isn't that right?
That's right.
That's the sound. And I'll have to look on my book to see where to plug that in. There's a place to plug it in.
You got a book with all this?
Yeah, I got a book right here. I'm not using it because I didn't have time. But all right, there's Okay, but I don't see the sound. For my onboard sound, it's going to plug in. Let me look back here close to where the sound is. I'll find it one way or another. I'll have to look that up in the book. And the book is, like I say, the book's got a diagram. It'll show me where to plug it in. It's not there because that's where all the front panel stuff is. Now let me get my. Yeah, you'll find it for me. I'm going to get into these cables here. Huh?
AC 97.
AC 97 is what it's talking about. That's your onboard sound. Like your speaker stuff. All that's doing is giving you hookups on the front for your sound. All right, you see this cable here, this IDE cable?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You want to make sure you plug in. If you've got 2 hard drives and 2 CD drives in there, I like to share a hard drive and a CD drive on an IDE port, and then another hard drive and CD drive on an IDE port. If you share 2 CD drives on an IDE port, sometimes it causes it to lock up and not run fast. I found that out the hard way. Okay, you guys are getting the benefit of stuff I found out easily. Yeah, I told somebody about it and they knocked it out. See this right here, the shape code?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's going to plug in just like that. Just like that. All right, now, one of these, and it doesn't matter which one, can be plugged into there. That's your power to that particular drive. See, now we got that drive hooked up to power. All right. Now, this floppy drive, they were nice enough to send me a floppy drive hookup. Like I say, if you plug your floppy drive in upside down and it doesn't really have a shape code, the only thing that will happen is your light won't work right on the front of it. You know, your little drive light.
Mm-hmm.
All right. See, they don't even have any kind of shape code on that at all.
Which cable is that?
That's the floppy drive cable.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. And you could probably get by without a floppy drive.
Take note of the
That's pin 1, yeah.
stripe.
But I don't know how to tell by looking at it where pin 1 is unless it's got it on the board. Anybody see anything like that down there?
It should be.
Make sense?
I don't see it on the board then.
I don't either. That's the point. All right, I'm just going to plug it in this way. Like I say, you're not going to hurt anything plugging it in, but if the floppy drive doesn't seem to be, if the light on the floppy drive is not working right, and my son taught me that because he'd been there. You know what I mean? I told him this. My little light. Yeah, that's that one. That's the little port for your floppy drive. That's where that plugs in. It's slightly a different size than those 2 IDEs. See, I got an IDE port I'm not using, and that is it.
Is that all?
We're hooked up. We're hooked up fat. How about that? Well, I'm hooked up fat. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah.
All right. But see, see the power supply is hooked up to the motherboard in 2 places. We got to make sure that when we put one together, we've got our cords and cables, little tie wraps to keep them out of trouble. And you got to make sure that, you know.
I can tell you where pin 1 is on that floppy if you're interested in seeing.
Okay, pin 1 is going to be, yeah, I did it right. But on the floppy drive itself is what I'm not sure about. See, I got pin 1 over here. See, pin 1 is a different colored strip. See that?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And it'll be red on some of the cables, but on this
You
one
don't know
it's
whether
blue.
it's at the top or the bottom.
I don't know on the floppy drive
Uh-huh.
itself where it is, but it may
You
have
can see the floppy out and find it.
Yeah, it may have it, but anyway, it's not a. And I'll make sure I've got my floppy plugged in so I engage all the pins too. So that's the way that's going to work. Anyway, the floppy drive is something I use for a safety net because sometimes your floppy drive is not going to work. I mean, your everything else not going to work. Now, what we would do here, I got to figure out. Well, may pull that out and figure out what pin number 1 is. Anyway, I'm going to leave that unplugged for now. There's a power cable that's different. Because I'm going to be ironing this out before I ever boot it up.
Very different. Like
That one right there. It's a little bitty thing.
And that only goes on one way.
Yeah, it only fits one way. But it goes just like that. See the shape code on that? And then if you try to plug it in backwards, it just won't plug in. So you gotta. Yeah, I got that one plugged in. That's my floppy drive. All these have got to be powered up. And you, like I say, you could use this cord or the other one. If you didn't have a cord like that to power up that hard drive, you could use that one. Okay, so that's got that pretty well taken care of. But what we would do is boot it up so that we went into our BIOS. I don't know if she's ever shown you how to do that, but some of you hit F12, some of you hit delete while it's coming up. And when you go in there, you're going to tell it to boot from your CD. And most of the time, I think these motherboards will have the drivers for the CD on the motherboard. What's really used to make me ill was when I didn't have drivers for the CD, you could boot it up on a startup disk, even if it was a Windows ME startup disk. But it's going to boot up on a floppy by default. And then you can go in there after you've got that, put your operating system CD in, close it up, reboot it, and follow the instructions. That's all you got to do. And there you go. All right. Anybody got any questions or comments?
How much was this bare bones kit?
This particular bare bones kit, the whole thing you see right here was like $1,200. That sounds pretty high. This card was expensive. The RAM was bad. What I like about building my own is I don't have all of this superfluous software loaded that I didn't want. Because they trash it. I mean, and what were you telling me about some of the computers at college? Yes, they got so many processes running that what? You said so you had to actually disengage some of the processes to make them work right because they had too much software loaded.
You get a brand new box out of PC out of the box. It's typically going to be loaded with applications that really affect the performance of a computer. Even though it's brand new, it can be actually a better machine by uninstalling what they call bloatware. It's just bloated with stuff.
Yeah, and they just load everything on it. And but this one here has got one fan. This one's got one fan I didn't have anywhere to connect. Right there.
Nowhere to connect?
It's got a big monster fan here. It's got a fan there. I had a place here. I had a place there, but I don't see another fan hookup. I could be wrong. There may be one somewhere I missed. And there could be one coming right out of this here. There's also a fan in here. This processor, this power supply, and the size of that fan is going to affect how cool the computer runs. I bought a 450 watt power supply that was one of them cheap Chinese ones. It was about $40 and put it in one of my machines at home, and it kept getting hot and shutting itself down. But when I put a real good unit in there, it ran cool and never gave me any more trouble. So the quality of your power supply and the size of the fan that's in it. A lot of them, see how size of that fan and that power supply, how huge it is? I've never seen one that big in a power supply. Usually they're about that big around. And that one's a monster. It's a 500 watt power supply. The wattage of the power supply is important depending on your application. I'm going to tell you, you could probably go in this book right here, go on that website, and buy you a motherboard and all the stuff you need, including a case and a power supply and everything, to build a computer for probably $400 if you were just going to use it for email and word processing. And I built this one here because I didn't want to have to upgrade it for a while. But anyway, that's
here.
Yeah. But
There's looks like there's
you got another fan hooked up?
there looks like there's 3 fan hookups.
What is this?
That's the fan. That's
Okay.
that front
Okay.
fan.
Okay.
All right, wait a minute. Well, Cobb, where did I miss it at? Oh, well, that fan right there is hooked up to it. The little the CPU for the motherboard. The motherboard's got its own little NVIDIA chip on it for running
Is that on board?
It's on board. It was built there.
No, I'm saying that is for what?
That's the actual. Most of them don't even have a fan on that. Most of them just got some little fingers sticking up that's like a heat sink. This one here comes with a fan on the motherboard chip.
But that chip
and
is
it's going to
what?
that fan right there. It's going to that fan hookup that you're talking about. So you got 1, 2, and you got one for the for this fan here. Excuse me, for that fan. See that funky fan I was telling you about?
But you're saying, is there another fan here?
This is a fan.
That's a fan. That's right.
One.
That's coming hooked up.
That one has one. And then
that's right.
Okay.
So this one here, it depends on what. I think this one here would
you
be.
got this. You have this one.
Yeah, that monster fan there is.
Is that the 120?
Yeah, that's the one I want. I think this is going to make. This is closer to the processor. I think it would be more productive than
Does your cover have a
it
cone
does.
on it?
Believe it or not, it's got a cone to go down
Wow.
there.
So that's basically going to isolate the
That's cool.
the exhaust for this
That's cool.
particular area here.
Yeah, really.
And what you can do is adjust it.
Oh,
See
sure.
there? See that? It's adjustable.
One comment I will tell you, that's probably the biggest CPU fan I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yep.
And all those fans on it.
It's a stud.
Yeah.
It's going to be a monster. All right, so it'll come down on there like that. Now, see, that's not even out against the fan down there, and I can actually do better than that.
Yeah.
That's how that goes.
Might want to.
You can put a padlock on this little thing on this case and keep people out of it. So, see, if I spin that one down, it's going to get air just from outside.
Wow.
See what I'm saying? And it's going to to keep it cool. Right? That's important if you're doing stuff like me and the Cobb do. We would not be able to shoot down a walker if we didn't have any. Or a jet or whatever we're shooting at, you know. Me and Cobb plays the games at that. But this is not a machine for gaming, although you could use it for that. I'm going to use this one just for writing articles. And I write this stuff off on my home business. That ought to do. That's good enough. All right.
Great.
Okay, so everybody happy?
Yeah.
Feel like you got your money's worth today? But, got little fella screws. I got another one here somewhere. And there's the other one. That's another little thing I could have put on the process. See, they sent all these different hookups so that you can make that fan work with your processor.
Awesome.
Everybody knows what this is, I'm guessing, right?
Power supply.
Yeah, power supply cord. Okay. All right. Well, we're about 6 minutes away from